there has been building blocks put in place to build a team worthy of finishing the top 10 of the Premier League. And they rarely deviate from their own terms when it comes to big decisions. There's no reason why they couldn't finish in the top 10.
But I see it better now, cause everything you do only says you gotta figure it out.
What's up guys, George Lyons here. Welcome back to the Soccernomics YouTube channel and you're watching The Rounds. As usual guys, before we hit off today's episode, just got to let you know to hit that subscribe button if you are new. If you like football content, you like football finance, football economics, that sort of stuff, then this is the channel for you. So hit that subscribe button and continue watching. Also, before we hit off today's episode guys, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of you guys for your incredible support over the past, 2 years, but more specifically over the past 6 weeks. We have had a huge growth on the channel. We've actually hit 500 subscribers, which is absolutely huge. Thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you. Not even 6 weeks ago, we were on less than 300 subscribers. Now we're at 500. It's been massive growth and it's great to see that my content is actually getting exposed and people are enjoying it. It's an incredible feeling. So I just want to say thank you so much, and hopefully you enjoy this episode and future episodes, and we get to 1,000 subscribers very, very soon. Hopefully we can do that before the end of the year, guys. If you can help us hit that, that'd be massive. But enough of the chat, let's get on with today's episode. Right, so obviously today's episode guide is about Brighton Hove Albion, more specifically why Brighton Hove Albion is such an exciting prospect, not only for players but also for fans as well. It has been a hell of a roller coaster for this club, and it's looking pretty good in the future too. Brighton have kicked off their 5th consecutive Premier League season in incredible form, getting 3 wins from the first 4 games. An excellent start from Graham Potter's boys, who are looking like a team who could very well finish in the top 10 this season. But what if I told you finishing in the top 10 wouldn't exactly be much of a surprise? Let me explain. But before I do, let's wind back to 2009. This was when Tony Bloom, their current chairman, took up a majority stake of 75% in the club from the South Coast. Born in Brighton and an avid Brighton Hove Albion fan, Tony Bloom made his wealth mainly through the betting industry. Despite being a pro poker player, often competing in the World Series of Poker and the World Poker Tour, the majority of his wealth was actually created through the development of gaming websites as well as doing property and real estate. Tony Bloom took over Brighton Hove Albion when they were sitting in League One, the 3rd tier of English football. And shortly after joining the club, he invested £93 million into what is now the Amex Stadium, with the intentions of being Premier League ready. In 2011, Brighton achieved promotion into the Championship after winning League One. And after a couple of promotion challenges and playoff heartbreaks, the Seagulls in the 2016-17 season under the manager Chris Hughton managed to achieve promotion to the Premier League for the first time in 34 years. Despite being a traditionally smaller club compared to their South Coast rivals, you think of Southampton, Portsmouth, these sort of teams, they've actually enjoyed relatively good success, remaining in the Premier League for 4 consecutive seasons, finishing 15th, 17th, 15th again, and 16th respectively, which, believe it or not, is actually a really difficult thing to do for a newly promoted club. So what makes Brighton so much different to any other Premier League club, and how are they doing things better than other clubs? Well, there's a number of factors in which they are absolutely excelling. Their owner is very ambitious and has a very clear vision, which sounds like it should be a given, but the reality is that is not always present within every single club. He has a very clear vision of how he wants to build the club, the identity and style of play, and a very refined and clear transfer policy strategy. Their intentions are clear. They want to be a top 10 Premier League club. After the 2018-19 season where Brighton narrowly avoided relegation from the Premier League, finishing in 17th place, Tony Bloom felt that in order for the club to move to the next level, some changes had to be made. Dan Ashworth, technical director of Brighton, was brought in towards the start of the 18-19 season. He was brought in to be a presence to look after the mid to long-term interests of the club, with responsibilities ranging anywhere from the men's team, the women's team, the academy, transfers, medical department, and sports science, as well as the player loan department. His role has one thing in mind: making sure that he can make Tony Bloom's vision a reality. Despite getting Brighton to the Premier League for the first time in 34 years and also maintaining Premier League survival for consecutive years, Bloom and Ashworth felt that in order for the club to move forward, they needed to bring in a new manager that had the same philosophy as that as the chairman. Someone who can implement the style of play that the club wants to achieve. And that summer, they brought in Graham Potter from Swansea City. Since then, Graham Potter has been an absolute revelation at Brighton, implementing an exciting and attacking style of play, improving players and transitioning new and academy players into the first team. Although the Seagulls have finished 15th and 16th since Potter's arrival, there has been building blocks put in place to build a team worthy of finishing the top 10 of the Premier League. In the transfer window, the club has focused more on trying to recruit young, promising, and undervalued players that fit in the style of play that Potter's trying to play, and cover the areas that need improvement. Given Tony Bloom's background in obviously betting industry, there's a lot of numbers and analytics involved in that. He also has a degree from the University of Manchester for mathematics. He's been able to implement his knowledge and his experience into the club's transfer policy, using their own data analysis in order to identify unearthed gems. Players such as Yves Bissouma, Neil Maupay, Leandro Trossard, these are players that have been brought in at a young age at a very low price, with the intention of not only improving as a player, but also improving in terms of value. And they have the same intentions for new arrivals Enoch Mwepu and Marco Correa. They've also nurtured their youth with huge investments and attention put into their youth academy, which has now been established as a Category 1 academy in England, which is the top tier of academies in the country. They've gone on to promote players such as Lewis Dunk, Aaron Connolly and Ben White to the first team, with Ben White actually making a transfer to Arsenal this summer for £50 million. Not a bad profit margin. Brighton are a very disciplined and structured club, all the way from the players, all the way to the chairman. They're very proactive in the way that they go about their business, kind of similar to the way that Leicester City operate, and they rarely deviate from their own terms when it comes to big decisions. I mean, the reason why they managed to get £50 million with Ben White is because that is what they valued him at and they stuck to it. These are very promising signs of a football club moving in the right direction. A club who are not only looking to improve, but also want to maintain and preserve their own values. They know what they are, they know where their limits are, and they allocate their resources smartly in order to maximise their returns. Despite a couple of risky transition years where they have flirted with relegation, the important thing is they've not deviated from their own values and what they're trying to achieve. Now it's a case of should they experience any unexpected outside influences that could affect their performances in the near future, there's no reason why they couldn't finish in the top 10. And this is also with a club who, let's not forget, they've got one of the smallest wage bills and one of the smallest budgets in the entire league. They're actually, I think it's 15th. I think they've got the 15th lowest wage bill in the entire league. So yeah, it's a pretty exciting time to be at Brighton Hove Albion, especially as a Brighton fan. I personally believe that this is a very pivotal year for Brighton Hove Albion. The reason being is because a couple of their very influential players are potentially going to be looking at moving on in the next season. Players such as Yves Bissouma, which is a great example. He is a player who's knocking on the door to those top 6, top 4 Premier League clubs. He is good enough to walk into, say, for example, Manchester United, who are looking for a defensive midfielder. He's someone who can collect the ball very well. Although he isn't exactly a defensive midfielder, he is somebody who's good at every little area, and that is something that obviously could be very useful to Manchester United. He's very good at picking up the ball as well and making things happen. Seeing as they received £50 million for Ben White, yes, of course, he's English and he's only 23 years old. Yves Bissouma is still also very young, and he's got the potential to be very world class, and I have no doubt in my mind they could achieve something very similar for selling Yves Bissouma as well. Now, obviously, Brighton will want to try and keep him, but the reality is he's probably going to want to move on to the next level, and that's just inevitable. But in the meantime, they want to try and get the most out of him as possible. Anyway, that's all we got time for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to leave a like button down below. Also, most of you guys aren't actually subscribed to our channel, and if you want to see more content like this from us, then be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year now. That is our next target. But apart from that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you very soon.
Being a stranger to what we lost, I'll keep my guard down and hope it comes back around, cause I still just feel like I'm gonna keep running.